It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Monday, January 1st. Happy New Year. It is 2024. Super happy for all of you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. Not just another day, another year together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have 2G Talks with Eddie Kweon, the Sunday Message Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone. How are you doing? It is a wonderful and happy new year. It is 2024. I am super happy and excited. We have gone through 2023. We've done it together with the Lord, God, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Son, Jesus, the man and mission of this time period have all, they've all done it together with us, and that is the most important part. I'm excited. I'm super thankful. We've made it. We actually made it through 2023. And as shocking as this sounds, we're in 2024. We are past the final prophecy in the Bible. So yeah, lots to look forward to, lots to be hopeful for. Don't forget, we have Q&A every single Thursday, so get those questions ready and send them to me whenever you can. If you haven't yet, especially for this video, the first video of the new year, leave a like and comment to build our community. Just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. Let's get up, support each other each and every day of 2024. This week's fitting Sunday message titled, Those Who Reach the End by Taking Action Until the End. And that is talking about all of us here right now. So yes, Happy New Year to everyone. Very, very grateful and thankful to God, the Holy Trinity, Jesus, two sons name, that we're here for another year, not only in this history, but especially right now, it's another year of the Morning Star Drive. This year's theme, the year of prayer, word, and evangelism. And I think there's a lot to unpack there, especially what does it mean to us this year? We can't look at it too generally. We have to kind of look at it for our history and also us as individuals. What does that mean to each and every one of us? So it's a very interesting theme because it just feels like we've heard this theme before too. But remember, what changes is our level. What changes is what is the background situation. What's going to change this year? This year's theme is going to be different according to what we do, how we put things into action, how we raise our level even more than we did in the past, right? And of course, those three are super essential parts of our faith. So I'm looking forward to 2024 and seeing what we have in store, what God has in store for us, right? And when you really think about it, I kind of touched on this just a second ago. It was, this is the first year after 2023, like the first day, which means we have just finished the final prophecy in the Bible. We just finished it last night. And this is like we're embarking on a new journey, like a new path. And you know, if you think about it, that's kind of crazy. This is the first year after every prophecy in the Bible has been fulfilled. It's the first year after the Great Tribulation. And it's really, I'm very intrigued to try to figure out what is going to happen this year. What's going to be different about this year than other years, right? And, you know, like the message said, we're not going to, like all of a sudden means that we're not going to have difficulties. There's not going to be any more sufferings and stuff like that. Of course, we're going to still go through those things. But, you know, we're not going to go through anything like what happened in 2023, right? Nothing like that is actually going to happen. And that's the thing that I think that's kind of interesting is, nothing like that's going to happen again. And it's kind of like, it's very subjective. In one sense, meaning nothing is going to actually hit us like it did this year. So I think that's a better way to put it. Nothing's going to hit us like it did this at that magnitude, right? It's almost like the difference between a city that is earthquake proof and a city that has like nothing to protect their buildings from earthquakes. There's a huge difference because if you have like just really bad infrastructure and you have no earthquake proof buildings, even the smallest earthquakes will crumble every single building in the city. But if you have earthquake-proof buildings and such, then you can have like 7, 8 magnitude and very few buildings will actually fall over. So, you know, if you think about this, after we go through all these difficulties, it's like we're earthquake proofing our temples, our bodies, right? So even if something big came up, even something as big as this year, we're not going to be as affected because we're more equipped and we're more ready for it, right? Just what we've gone through last year. I'm already saying last year because it's 2023, right? So it's like just what we've gone through last year. It's quite amazing because now, because we saw what happened in 2023, we're not going to be giving people that much power, like as we gave to KJS, right? We're not going to be making the same mistakes, and that's why we're going to be definitely more equipped and more ready for anything or the future tribulations that come. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm super thankful, everyone. I hope you guys had an amazing and awesome New Year. Let me know in the comments what you guys did in your churches. Let me know what you guys did for your first day of giving glory to God, or what are you guys going to do today? Because this is coming out at 5:30 a.m. on Monday. However, I have a big feeling that no one's going to start listening to this probably until later in the day because they're so tired from all the festivities of last night and such too. Well, let me start off with something a little bit funny. Okay, let me talk. This is kind of funny and kind of like strange. Okay, so my ever since my Instagram hit 2,500 followers, companies are calling me to advertise for they want to work with me for Instagram. But interestingly, the two that I got so far, well, I've gotten a bunch of them, but there's two that were so funny, okay? So I'm not sure where they get this idea that I'm this type of person from my Instagram. So the first one is, it's a marijuana company wants to work with me, right? So this marijuana company is like medical or like recreational marijuana. They want to work with my channel, like with my Instagram. So I'm just like, whoa, that's kind of crazy, right? So, obviously I didn't respond to that one, but I thought to myself does my channel really look like I'm someone like being Pastor Sky that wants to, like promote marijuana? Now the second one is the crazy one. The second one is for OnlyFans. So there's a company who markets OnlyFans and those types of things, and they're asking me if I want to start an OnlyFans account, and they will promote the account for me. Tell me that's crazy. Like I gotta get this. Do I give off that OnlyFans vibe? Like that I'm gonna start an OnlyFans? Like, does my Instagram give off the marijuana smoking OnlyFans vibe? Like, it's so crazy that someone wants to sponsor me through OnlyFans. So I was just sitting like going, that is so crazy that OnlyFans wants to sponsor me. Well, not OnlyFans, but someone who wants me to start an OnlyFans account. So when I heard that, I was laughing and then also thinking to myself, am I giving off that vibe, an OnlyFans vibe, a marijuana smoking pastor OnlyFans vibe? That would be crazy. So I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, that's just nuts. So when I was looking at that, I was laughing. I was telling everyone else about like these two different sponsorships that came up, but I just thought it was really hilarious. So as you know, like Daniel Baker, his whole family is over here in Malaysia. And interesting, the cool thing is they're actually heading to Bali tomorrow. They're heading to Bali for like 4 days. So I know they're going to have an amazing and awesome time. So I am not going to go. So I'm going to be still in Malaysia, free to relax and decompress, right? Because I've been with them for like 11, 12 days now. So, I just need some time. I need my alone time and stuff. So I'm definitely going to spend this time really well just relaxing. Right? And there's something that's really cool, hanging out with the Bakers. So it's like David's the father, Debbie's the mother, and then you have the three children. Daniel's the oldest, and then you have the second is Joshua, and then Gloria's the youngest, right? They're like 20, 17, and 12, right? And we just like, man, on Saturday, we were like, I was so tired. I was so tired on Sunday too, because he came in by himself on Saturday, and it was supposed to be a 1:20 flight, 1:20 a.m. So, we're getting ready to leave at around like 11 o'clock or like 12 o'clock. And then, the flight got delayed, and then he was booked onto another flight. So it was supposed to be like 5 or 6 a.m. And then we find out the flight he didn't get on until something that was like 9 a.m. And then later it eventually comes at 11 a.m. So we were like just up all night. It was pretty crazy, right? But I've been hanging out with the Bakers and the entire family, and it's kind of cool because you get to see the dynamics of a family, and it's very, very interesting to me because I don't have a family. I mean, like I don't have like a wife and kids, right? So for me, if I did have a family, I would be in David's position, the father, right? David, or AKA Daniel's father, right? So I'm more in a position to relate to him. So I'm like, it's really interesting because I'm looking at it from a single guy's point of view. And I'm like, wow. Like, just watching, it's like, man, it's hard being a father. Like, it looks really, really hard. Like, the amount of sacrifice he puts in is very, what word should I use? It's very manly. All right. So what does that mean? Like, a couple things I noticed is like they go to an Airbnb, the girls take the big bed, like the mother and daughter take the big bed, the two sons take the small bed, and then the father's on the floor sleeping. Right. And like in the conversations and arguments, he's always the one that's compromising. And, the children are, sometimes they're complaining. They're doing things that what normal children do, right? They're just doing normal children things. They're not bad or anything else. It's just normal stuff, right? But for me, I'm just like, wow. Like, some of the things that, because you have three of them constantly like in like talking to you and, I don't know, they're doing kids things, right? And they do things that make me question why parents don't like spank their children anymore. I'm just like, oh, I can't believe this. If that was me, I'd be so angry kind of thing, frustrated, right? But he just takes it. He takes it. And when I'm watching this, I'm watching for the last 10, 11 days, I'm just like, it's really impressive. But I'm going to tell you my honest first thought. My honest first thought is like, it makes me mad. And it makes me kind of think that, man, these kids are taking advantage of their father. They're disrespecting him. Like, that's in my head. I'm like, wow, like, how can they do that? And it just makes me want to stand up for him, right? But, as I think about it more deeply, I realize how being a father changes you for the better. Like how being a father is such a humbling experience, and it makes you better. Now, what does that mean? Like, when I see him, because I'm single and I don't have children, I still have like that pride, right? The bad pride. Like, oh, that's me. Like, stick up for yourself. Like, no, not stick up for yourself. Like that pride that I'm the center kind of thing, right? And it destroys that pride. That bad pride where it makes you no longer self-centered, but you're more family-centered. You put your children above yourself. And, and when I start to think about it more deeply, I'm just like, man, this being a father and going through all that, it just makes you a better man. It really does. And like I said, my thoughts are coming from someone who is single, right? I don't have family, I don't have children. I don't have to deal with this type of stuff. And I think mainly about myself all the time. If you're living alone, you're thinking about what should I eat? What should I do, right? It's kind of, you're naturally self-centered. You're naturally thinking about what you want to do. You naturally think about what you don't want to do. You naturally think about the things that are coming again. Like, it's about you. You can't help it because you're only looking after yourself. I'm never forced to compromise for others because I don't have to. There's no one pushing my buttons. There's no one taking me to my limits. So I just think about myself. But when you become a father, when you become a parent, you're basically giving everything. And this is now, it makes sense to me right now. Those movies where you have like all the single guys hanging out together, having so much fun, going, they go out to the bar, the clubs, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden one of them gets married, and then the friends are like, dude, what happened? You changed. Why don't you hang out with us anymore? What happened? Whoa, the wife got you under a ball and chain. Man, you turned into a girl. Like, they totally rag on the guy, right? You've seen those movies, right? Where the guys are totally making fun of the guy who got married and has children, right? But, it makes sense to me. It totally makes sense. Because now when you're married and you have children, you have bigger priorities than yourself. It's so much bigger than yourself. So when I start to think about single people now, when I think about single people, it's very different when after this realization. Like, I think my personal opinion is, I think it is better for most people to get married. That's my feeling. I feel it is best for most people, not all, most people to get married. That should be the general way. That's how I feel. I think it's part of the evolution of self, the next stage in life. I don't think people should even, I don't think the majority of people, like the vast majority of people, shouldn't even be considering staying single. I don't think, like, I'm like, wow, like it's a really important part of the stage of growth. I think it's a very important part. And that's why I find it quite sad when people are like, no, I don't want to get married, but it's not for any real reason. Like, not real reason, but like, I can understand when it comes to someone who's living their life only for God, right? And they want to live full time for God. Like, I understand that. That makes sense to me. And there's going to be some other very special circumstances, but some people are just going to be like, oh, I don't want kids. I don't want that. Like, that's the purpose of creation. That is literally what we've learned is the purpose of why we live. Like, our brains are made in that way to make a family. It's just made that way. We are completed through love, right? And there are very, very few people in very special circumstances that God will allow not to, but that's the purpose. That's one of the greatest things we've learned in this history is the purpose of creation. Like, and for me, it's very, very interesting because, you know, I've been with this family for like 11 days. And please don't misunderstand. By no means am I saying that the kids are bad. They're normal kids, right? They're just normal kids in a family. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, kids are young. Kids are immature. Kids are going to complain. Kids are going to do things that kids do. It's normal. Complaining, acting out, that's normal. It's not something extraordinary or like, oh, these are terrible children. It's nothing to do with that. It's just regular family life, right? And every family is going to have this type of dynamic at one level or another. And yeah, like, it made me think deeply about myself. Like, I am the ultimate uncle. I will play with the kids. I will have fun. I will do all these things. I'm like the funkle, right? But man, I was looking at this like, man, taking a step into fatherhood, I think it's something you will never be ready for. You just have to do it. You'll never, no, I don't think anyone can ever say that they're ready for it. I think it's just something, you just got to do it. When you do it, you're going to learn as you go, right? I don't think anyone will ever be ready for fatherhood. I don't think so. Or being a parent. You just got to go through it. Yeah, so, yeah, it's really interesting because, like I said, I'm in the mix. I'm like part of the family, just hanging out, doing this and that, right? And, you know, they officially adopted me as a baker, so I'm like the fourth child. I'm probably the youngest when it comes to maturity too, but it was just so interesting to see all this happen. And yeah, I had some good, I'm still processing some things too, having great conversations with David, with Daniel, with Joshua, and I probably connect the most with the 12-year-old because that's the level of my mind, right? But yeah, it was, I find it very interesting as I observe and as I'm a part of the dynamics now. But I found it to be very enlightening. And I think it's something that's very, very important for us. And it's the purpose of creation, right? So, you know, cool thing happened. I was preparing my podcast at a cafe, right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's just this masked woman comes to me and says, Pastor Sky? I was like, yes. And they're like, it was a member. And they introduced themselves to me. They actually bought me a drink. Right? They were going to buy me a latte, but I just finished one. It was my second latte of the day, and I can't handle another one. So, but they bought me a drink. I was so thankful to them. Like, I was so thankful because my situation was like this. So this person, I didn't even tell them this. I was really thankful that God worked through them. And I know God worked through them to show his love to me before the year ends, on the last day before the year ends, right? I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but sometimes I hear the message, and I always think that the message is like directly about me and I need to change. I did something wrong, right? And you know, that's a healthy way. Like, oh yeah, I gotta change this. But sometimes I get a little bit too negative. Like, did I do enough? Oh, I should have done this better. Oh, am I one of those people that's not together on Sunseam's side? Was I the one that didn't realize? Like, you know, you kind of, sometimes you take yourself into a deep pit, right? And as I'm thinking this thing, you know, it's like God always seems to show himself to me at the right time to really inspire or move me through people. And it was just a small gesture, but I really, really felt God through it. I was like, wow, God, just when I'm thinking this way, here you are telling me, no. You're doing a good job, bro. He didn't say bro, though. Yeah, God doesn't say bro, I don't think. It'd be funny. God's like, hey, bro, don't worry about it, right? Can you imagine God speaks like, dude, you're doing fine, man. I wonder if God has an accent. But we can't hear God's voice. So when we hear God's voice in our heart, is it going to be the same accent as we have? So like a Malaysian is going to hear God with a Malaysian accent. That would be kind of weird, wouldn't it? But either way, yeah, so I really felt God work through this person. And it was such a small gesture, but it was exactly what I needed. Like God signed to me like, hey, don't worry, you're fine. And I was like, thank you, God. And I was really moved by the gesture. And it was it was strange because I just finished my latte. So I had a latte on my table and she said to me, do you want another one? I was like, oh, it's okay. I just had another one, right? But she insisted like, please, let me buy you something. And I was like, hey, all right, like I do need a refreshing drink. So she got it for me. And later I found out she also paid for my latte too. And yeah, it was very, very, that part there was just really inspiring for me. I was just like, wow. Yeah, I was very, very grateful and thankful that God worked through this person. And this person said something that was very interesting because it's the second time I heard it this year. So when I was in Korea, there was a pastor that I met for the first time. So nice to me. Bought me lunch, everything, like so nice to me. And this pastor said to me like, hey, in the past you were very like charismatic. Like your eyes were like very sharp and, you had a goal and you were going for what you wanted, right? But then she said, this woman in Korea said, but now you're much softer and you're much more approachable. And I was like, oh, wow. And, I took that as a compliment, right? But it also made me think about, oh, maybe, I knew what I was like in the past. And if these people could feel what I was like in the past too, right? But this person who's met me last, like in 2015, when I was speaking at a university, she said the same thing. She's like, oh, you're much more approachable now than you were before. And I was like, oh, wow. And it really confirmed to me that I got softer. Because, I'm super honest with you guys. Until about 2018, halfway through 2018, I was very strong. And like, there's things that I wanted to get done. I was like a stickler for pre-dawn, like, come on guys, let's go. And it's kind of like, I was much more military, I believe, right? So much more stronger in character and everything else. But after having some realizations and trying to figure out how to change problems, becoming more transparent, trying to look at all the issues that I did myself and all the problems I had as a head leader and stuff like that too, I became, I thought to myself that I think I got better in my character. And just like these two people saying that I'm more approachable now made a better confirmation for me, and I was really thankful to God. Of course, like I'm saying that, yes, I got a ton of things I still need to fix, right? Just like this week's message, you gotta make yourself as best as you can. And when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that's so true. And I do want to change myself even more. But it was such a good confirmation there that I have become softer, right? More approachable, and I think that's a very, very good thing, right? Yeah, so you know what? Before I get to the first break of the day, there's two things I wanted to bring up. Number one is, guess what's today's episode? Today's episode is number what? Take a look, guys. It's 990, which means 2 weeks later, we're going to be at episode 1,000. So I am very excited, but also this person I was talking to has listened to my podcast from the very first episode until now. And she was saying how exciting that you're going to have your 1,000th episode in Malaysia. It's like coming full circle. In 2 weeks, I'm going to have my 1,000th episode, and it's going to be in Malaysia, which is so crazy because my first episode was in Malaysia too, right? March 16th, 2020 was the day I did my first recording. And I was inspired by the 316 message, and I did my first podcast in Malaysia. And now here I am back in Malaysia, and I'm going to be doing my 1,000th episode in Malaysia. So that is like, woo! I'm so happy that I'm only 10 episodes away from 1,000 episodes. That is crazy to me. It really is. Never missing an episode. I was late a couple times, but I never missed an episode, and I've got to this point, and I am so thankful to God, so thankful to the Holy Trinity, and man, it was intense. Like to go through all 1,000 episodes. So I'm super grateful, super thankful for all the things that have happened, and we've done it, guys. 1,000 episodes is just around the corner. So I got to think to myself, are you guys going to give me some ideas how we can celebrate the 1,000th episode? How can we celebrate the 1,000th episode together? That's something that I'm really, really thinking about too. Right? So yes, huge sign for me, coming full circle, first and 1,000th episode here in Malaysia. Maybe my next big milestone is going to be 2,000 or 5,000, whatever it is, and I'll have to always come back to Malaysia to do that episode or something along that line. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, guys, 10 episodes away, super excited. So I hope that all of us can celebrate together on this also. Right? And last question I have for you guys is, what are you guys doing for the 15 days of giving glory to God? Please, and I want to ask you guys, what should we do here on the Morning Star Drive? I think, of course, we should testify. If you have any testimonies, go ahead, send them to me. I would love to play your testimonies. If you have any testimonies for 2023, any new testimonies, what happened on New Year's Eve or whatever, I would love to hear them. Record them, send them to me. Would love to hear about that too. Okay? So with that said, yeah, let's get into the first break of the day.
Yeah, rise up to the challenge, armed with the word in action, belt to the truth, fasten, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying, everyone thinks I lost, but now I'm turning Super Saiyan, I gotta be new, gotta be great, I only gotta win this thing, fixing mistakes, fix who I am, all I wanna do is change, gotta be brave, gotta be tough, no more time for delaying, it's just training, all those times of pain, off, pushing my limits, only with God, I'm trying to be better, I'm trying to feel God, enemies watching, they want you to fall, but you have to be better, you have to give it your all, every day I make myself, but I know it's not easy, this is the life I chose and I know my spirit's breathing, the battle has only begun and I may take damage, but if I fall, all I know how to do one thing, rise up to the challenge, armed with the word in action, belt to the truth, fasten, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying, everyone thinks I lost, but now I'm turning Super Saiyan, I'm Goku turning Super Saiyan, I'm charged up, now I'm playing, on the mount like Sinai, I can live with God like Wi-Fi, receive the word, always praying, spiritual path where I'm staying, everyone thinks I lost, but I'm always with him, so you know I'm prevailing, protecting myself from Satan, armed with the truth, now my angels will shoot like, now I'm at my truest form, I'm trying to really be the greatest, the power level can't contain it, my energy is never draining, look how far we have made it, unlocking levels never hesitating, there's no try, you can just do it or don't, so fix your thoughts instead, everybody makes mistakes, just gotta take notes, can afford to do it again, life is so easy, if you just do what is right and just follow what's real, victory comes through skill, gotta stay on course, time to kill. Time to rise and shine, thinking of the past and never forget. God is Lord, by your side, holding your hand, dry your eyes, trust in Lord every night and day. He'll never let you go, don't fall away. Be bold, be brave, and with all your heart, love the Lord to the end of time. Rise up to the challenge, armed with the word in action, held to the truth, fasten, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying. Everyone thinks I lost, but I'm turning Super Saiyan.
All right, so let's get into today's word study, and it is the first Sunday message word study of 2024. Well, you know, I guess we're gonna have the first of everything because it is 2024. It's for me right now. It's still December 31st. It's like not even 7 p.m. over here. I'm just getting all this done before we have the big countdown tonight. I'm wondering what I'm gonna do for my New Year's countdown. I was thinking about actually getting an iced latte because, you know, I can't save it for that long. Get an iced latte and drink it during the countdown into the new year so I can say that I had a latte in 2023 and 2024. The alpha omega latte. That would be kind of weird. I think I'm going to see if I can actually do this or not. Either way. Okay. So this week's Sunday message, powerful one. Loved it. So fitting, the message. Those who reach the end by taking action until the end. Who's that talking about us? It's talking about us. It is all about us. I am grateful and thankful for all this too. And this is awesome. So there's two scriptures, Matthew 24:13, right? Only those that stand firm until the end will be saved. And of course, Daniel 12:12, which is the final prophecy of 2023. And it is the fitting message, the last message of 2023, right? So great message, and I hope it's something that you guys all enjoyed. So yeah, it's a powerful message. When you hear Matthew 24, we know that Matthew chapter 24 and 25, which was read during the message, that is the final prophecies, or it's the prophecies of the Lord's second coming. And it was so crazy that when the preacher was reading Matthew 24 and 25, all you can think about is this time period. Like, it's exactly the same. Right? Why do we have to stand firm until the end? We only have to stand firm until the end because there are people, there's evil, there's the wicked, the evildoers that do not believe, that do not follow, and they eventually killed the Messiah. Right? And instead of the glory, there's going to be harm instead of having peace. And we're like, man, that's happening right now. Right? All the things that we read. Oh man, nation against nation, famines and earthquakes, people losing their love, false prophets, and all these things are coming out. We're like, man, this is exactly, like, that prophecy is fulfilled absolutely right now in this time. And when I was listening to it, I was just like, wow, it is crazy. So it was so uncanny how just reading those two chapters, we were just, oh, I don't know about you guys. I was just like, that's everything that's happening right now. So yeah. And the first message from the Sunday message was about standing firm, being strong until the end with that absolute faith, right? Because when that tribulations come, you're going to only overcome it with that firm faith, right? And then, of course, it went through the preachers read all the scriptures of Matthew 24 and 25, but the context. What's the context? And I never thought about the context. Is this is a message that Jesus gave to his disciples before going on the path of the cross. It was almost like the last message before taking the path, the final message before the huge tribulation would come. And what he was saying is, endure and stand firm until the end. Right? That's what he's telling him. And it wasn't any different than what Sun Steve said at the end when he's like, what have I been telling you for the last couple of years? Stand firm until the end. Don't lose the merit. If you leave in the middle, you're going to, like, it's like Sun Steve's telling us the exact same thing over the last couple of years. Just like Jesus said this to his disciples before the great tribulation came. So it was really like, whoa. And Sun Steve was like, remember when Sun Steve said near the end of the message, he's like, yeah, and now that all these things have happened, you guys remember those things that I told you, right? And I'm just like, that's so crazy. Man, right? Isn't that incredible? Like, even in Matthew 24, verse 29, talks about the sun, moon, and stars, and a third of the stars will fall from the sky. That's connected with the scriptures and Revelations. And we look at what's happening right now, and says he's like, oh yeah, the stars are followers. Yeah, they're going to fall. About a third of them are going to fall. Man. This message wasn't, and then Sun Steve's like, oh yeah, that message, it wasn't actually for the disciples of that time. It was for us right now, those who are receiving the Advent, which is us. That was our message. Endure and stand firm until the end. Right? Endure and stand firm until the end. Poof. And if we start reflecting on the words that were given to us, even before Sun Steve took the path of suffering, Sun Steve's like, yeah, I already told you this. And now we've experienced it, we clearly remember and understand. And it should make us even more convicted in this history, the way things are going. That second message was like, even during the time of tribulation, you're not going to only just go through tribulation. You're not going to just receive tribulation and suffering. but God's will absolutely be fulfilled, right? So if there's more tribulation, then God's will be fulfilled even more. Blessed are those that reach the end. And of course, this is from Daniel chapter 12, verse 12, right? The last prophecy in the Bible, the 1335. Reaching the end, it's about those who remained, right? We've got to fulfill the will. Reach the end of the 2023. So I was just like, man, it's almost like a recap of everything that happened until 2023. And who are those that have stand firm until the end? Guess what, guys? It's everyone here listening to this podcast because it's January 1st, 2024. We have remained. We have fulfilled the will, right? We have reached the 2023. And many of our friends have fallen along the way. How sad that is, but that's how it's happened. The one part that was quite interesting, when he talked about reoccurring history, and this was quite shocking too, is when the time period fails to fulfill their responsibility, even though the man of mission fulfills his, God will pay them according to what they've done. And he moves on. If we fail, our time period has failed to do the responsibility. And God's not going to let the time period just be. Everyone is paid according to their deeds, right? And look, if you look at the large scale, it's talking about providence who accepted and the world that didn't accept. And we're like, wow, God's just not going to let it be. But then if you miniaturize it, even us inside providence, we do have to think about the things that we didn't do properly, and we will get paid according to what we've done. Of course, not going to be at the level of those who received and didn't receive, but it's going to be a smaller level of judgment that happens there too. And, we're kind of in that, like the message said, we're kind of in that position like Josiah and Necho, the conflict and ignorance. And history always turns out like there's going to be one on each side, where the man of mission is doing everything that they're supposed to do properly, but it's always the followers that fail. But the one thing that is 100% is God's will, God's history. It's going to go on, regardless of who leaves and who stays. Kind of like last year. It's like, what, you think one person can affect, do you think because of KJS, that one person, it destroys history? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're paid according to what we've done. So if we do well, we're blessed. If we don't do well, we're judged. It's just the way it is. And here we are. We've reached the end of 2023. And the way that Sunsi put in the message was the time of testing. That's 2023. And we pass the test if we reach the end. And great job to everyone out there. Why? Just the fact that we're back here on the Morning Star Drive, we've reached the end. Hallelujah. It's 2023. Everyone, give yourselves a big round of applause. It is amazing that we made it. A lot of us didn't think, we're like, how much longer do we have to wait? We've made it, right? We prayed, we ran, we reached the end, we called out to God, we went through the suffering, we went through the tribulations. We are blessed. We are truly, truly blessed, right? So, we want to, and this is a hard one for a lot of people, I think, is when Sanjeev said, you still need to pray for the people that left, right? We still need to pray for them. And as hard as that is, that's what love is. When you look at the true definition of what love is, remember, it's not saying that we have to, accept them, bring them back, and let them become leaders again. It's totally not saying that. Forgiveness is a different thing. Praying for them to come back is a completely different thing, right? Because if anything, the one thing as people who are true brides of this history, we never want to see anyone go to hell. Never. Even God, that's the one thing God never wants, is someone to go to hell. Even if someone can be saved by the skin of their teeth, that is a win for us, to not let a single person go to hell. And that's why, for those of you who are like, it's very interesting. Me and David, Me and David, like David's been in Providence for 30 years, right? He's been for 29 years. I've been for 25. When we're talking, like it was our friends that left. It was our friends that persecuted Sunseam, right? But still in our hearts, we're like, we still got to talk to them. We still want to make sure they're doing okay. That's love. No matter how much we feel the negative emotion inside, that's love. Everyone, you guys, we did a great job. And there are the people that left. There are the people that did wicked things. But we got to make sure we go until the end. Right? We got to go until the end. And I think one of the big messages, it's not just going until the end. Each of us needs to testify for the man of mission. We got to deliver the gospel in the respect, we have to deliver the gospel for our time period. The third message, wherever you go, wherever you are, you need to testify. And, that's, who wasn't inspired after that part of the message? What did God say at the beginning? Surely deliver the gospel and testify. Be my witness. They will know only when you testify. That's what we got to do. If you testify, lives will come. If you testify, people will be saved from the domain of death. If we don't want people to die and go to hell, we need to testify. Look at what Sunseam's been doing for the last 45 years. He's testified and taken action. And now what's next? The apostles, the disciples have to do the same as him. Look at Joseph. Joseph was the greatest example. He never gave up. He continued to do what he needed to do. He believed in God. He made sure that God was number one for him. And then, because he was constantly ready more and more, he prepared for the future with God. Yeah, it sucked that he was in prison. However, he still never let go of God. He did everything that God wanted. He lived with hope, and that's why he was able to push himself to the next level. He testified. How did he did he really testify? Of course he did. Whenever he did something, it was always about God. Think about when he interpreted the dreams of the cupbearer and the baker. He says, only I can't interpret dreams. Only God can interpret dreams. He was always testifying about God. Peter was in prison, but he was delivering the gospel. Miracles happened. Paths opened up when he delivered the gospel. And that's what we have to realize. We have to do the same, right? The only reason miracles happen is because we took action, because we testified, because we prayed. That all happened until now, right? That's one of the greatest things, right? So Sunseam too, remember that first video? That was a great video where Sunseam saw a scene while he's praying. And it was like that second bridge on the way to Wollongong, and underneath there's a ditch with water in it, and this heavy rain, the floods came in, but it washed all the small rocks away. And, then all of a sudden you have this beautiful small pond that appears. And you wouldn't have found it normally. This clean pond appears because of that flood. And what was the message? Big tribulations, right? Because of the big tribulation, all the dirt and rocks were washed away and the pond showed itself. Without that flood, we would have stayed hidden. But this is a parable for this time period, right? This tribulation came. It's a time to cleanse our hearts. As we go through this tribulation, we're reflecting on ourselves. As we go through this tribulation, we're thinking about why we believe. We're thinking about why we are convicted, why we're in this history. And what's going to happen is that pond is going to appear in our hearts, that clean pond, and we're going to gain, we're going to be blessed. Clean ourselves. We have to testify. And don't just testify. One of the things I liked that was very clear from the message is, be full of the Holy Spirit and testify. Like they did in the time of the apostles, right? Be full of the Holy Spirit and testify. Right? We got to work together. We got to be united together. We got to work together as one. We got to, I like what Sunseam also said, take charge of this history. That's a big thing Sunseam's saying to us. Take charge of this. Don't just leave it to someone else. Don't just flow with don't just let it go with the flow how the world wants Providence to be. Take charge of it. Rule over it with the Lord. Rule over it with truth, with love, with the words. Take charge of this history. It is up to us. We can't just always be like sitting there relying on just like, only when Sun seems, only when, no, we can't do that. We can. What do you mean? We got to take charge of it with what? With the Lord in truth and love. So I hope that all of us too, we got to go. Get off this comfortable path, right? Stop avoiding the tribulations or hardships because, even all that, the tribulations, it's kind of momentary. It comes and goes. Sunseem's been running. If you think about Sunseem, 40. Like I thought to myself, I've been running for 21 years. Sunseem's been running for 45. And even before that, training, suffering, hungry in the mountains. Work at the time you need to work and don't lose this chance. Persevere, overcome, live with thanksgiving, be thankful, be harmonious, run in hope. That last message was powerful. Hey, you've made it this far. You've won. You've done a great job. But now, while you're still young, before you get even older, take action without giving any excuses. Like that in itself is a message right there. You could just unpack that. You've done, everyone, great job. We are the most successful people in this time period. You are the people that the Holy Trinity has wanted the most. Now let's push forward. Let's believe and follow. We got to get to that next level. We got to get to that next level. Right? And that the last part of the message was always about, hey, it's time to get off your butt. No excuses, let's push. Right? And when you look at the last words in the conclusion, all by God, it was all about, hey, make yourself struggle and make yourself beautiful. And you know what? We might think to ourselves as, but God, we've been struggling for so long. No, when you think about the words, struggle to make yourself beautiful, you shouldn't complain about that. Why? Because how many people are struggling to be beautiful right now anyways? Like, think about physical beauty. You have to struggle by exercising and working out to stay in shape, to be beautiful in your body. In order for your face to be clean and to be beautiful, you have the makeup, you have the cleansing, you have the toner, the serums. Like you're doing so much anyways. You're suffering to make yourself even more. It's a normal thing we're all doing. It's not anything, you shouldn't separate it from, I'm so tired. No. Faith, beauty, mentality, all these things, we are suffering anyways. Even in the world without providence, you're still suffering. If you want to be an engineer, you got to suffer in engineering school. You want to be a doctor, suffer as a doctor in medical school. It's part of it. We're suffering anyways. We are. And that key question, I thought that this was the most powerful one. Is it really the tribulation and persecution that matters? Is it really that matters? And it's like, no. What matters is that I am with you. That's what matters. That's what matters. What really matters? Is it the tribulation? No. It's whether I am with you or not. That's number one. So all of us, let's make ourselves every day, right? Make ourselves every single day be beautiful and pleasant in character, in mentality, in your body, in your spirit. Listen to the words, and through the words, adorn your heart. Through the words, make your image and likeness to be beautiful, like the word wants us to be. Seek God every single day. And make it your joy that you are walking with God. Make it your happiness that you are walking with the Holy Trinity. We got to live like this. Remember, what's important, guys? It's not the tribulation. It's not the persecution. It is whether God is with you or not. It was a short message, but so powerful. I loved it. Great message. So I hope it's something that you guys really, really enjoyed too. But yeah, powerful message. If you have any comments or anything else, go ahead, put into the post in the comments. Would love to hear what you guys think about the Sunday message too. And yeah, also in the comments, just say Happy New Year. Love to hear you guys wishing each other Happy New Year too. Okay. So that's today's word study. We have 2G Talks with Eddie Kweon next. But before that, let's get into the second break of the day.
2023. We've all come a long way. Many different stories, but we're all on the same journey. Many, many ups and downs, but we're all still around. Many, many, many lessons, but each one came with a blessing. Let's not forget for where we come from when we make this confession. Some people just want to watch the world burn. As for you and I, let's set ourselves on fire, shine a light so bright that will make the people say, burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for our downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say, born sinner, never could be ill. I know I'm back from the dead, yeah, the Lord is my healer. I took the red pill, that's why I call him teacher. When you learn about the spirit, oh, there ain't nothing real. The one you learn from determines your entire destiny. Learn from the one who taught about eternity. Cloud craving, paper chasing, the joy is only temporary. I don't wanna do the same thing, so I had to count the vanity. I keep my eyes on the prize. I'll never sell my soul to the devil in disguise. With both hands on each side, I'm holding on to dear life. I keep my guard up, never back down. When it goes down, I call on the Christ. Spiritual battle, answer the call. It's Call of Duty, modern warfare, put the armor of God. They're fighting Lucy with a rock. I got atomic bombs, love the Lord your God and all your brothers want your demons fall. Don't be deceived, know who the ops is. Keep the unity and peace, go far way across this. Came to preach the word of God like I'm born in Tarsus. Here to testify the things I've seen on road to Damascus. He's a real deal, the real thing, be glad you heard the King's speech. Blessed are those who reach the end and get to hear the Lord speak. GODs, POC, we fulfilled everything. Burning life, kerosene, burning life, legacy.
You will never see me stop in the future. The life that fulfills God's will continue. Everyone thinks I'm unfortunate because I go through suffering. But inside of me it's different. Because I walk the path of eternal life.
Burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for our downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say,
like Mary poured out her perfume on Jesus' feet, I must pour out my heart, mind, and love on the one who saved me.
Okay, so let's get into our final segment on this New Year's podcast, the first podcast of 2024. We have 2G Talks with Eddie Kweon, and he prepared a wonderful segment for you guys. Of course, he's going to be wishing everyone a Happy New Year, but he's going to talk about reflecting on the end of the year of 2023. So I hope everyone enjoy this time. He's just doing he'll be heading to Korea today, actually. He'll be actually heading to Korea today, but he won't be arriving until the 3rd. So everyone, please enjoy. Please welcome Eddie Kweon, who's currently on a flight with 2G Talks.
Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year to everyone on the MSD 117.8. I'm really thankful, actually, that I get to celebrate both Christmas and New Year's on the MSD 117.8, right? Like, that's such a great blessing too, and I think that's kind of like the topic for today's segment. This is actually the second time that I'm recording this because right as I was about to send it to Pastor Sky, I was listening to the recording. I'm like, oh my gosh, the jacket that I was wearing was rustling a lot, and I was like, it doesn't make that big of a difference, but I think it'd be a little weird, so I decided to re-record this. But I know because of that, it actually lets me kind of like really get to the point of like what I was recording earlier. And so I'm thankful because even with this repetition, it makes it so that we can just like improve on it and give you a more polished kind of final product. But basically, if I had to put a title to like the episode, was reflecting on the end of the year and how like through tribulations we receive many blessings, and we can actually recall things better because of the things that we face. And I think just as the message is said time and time again, whatever hardships that we endured or that we went through is not in vain. And also it just pales in comparison to the magnitude of the blessings that we receive at the very end. So that kind of reflection came along because this last week, I was preparing to go to Korea, which I'll be doing on the 1st, right? Like, so at the time of this recording gets out there, I'll be flying to Korea, and I'll be staying there for about 3 months, as I've shared before. And so that's kind of a crazy trip, and because I didn't really have time, like I came back and I had exactly like a week to really prepare. So it's been crazy busy ever since. And like I'm getting ready to go to like a temperature that's just like so cold. I was joking with the members in Hawaii saying like after the month, I had just gotten used to the temperatures in Hawaii, because at first when I went there, Hawaii is like so much hotter, right, than and warmer than the rest of the continental US. And like towards the end of my trip, I had just gotten comfortable. I was like, okay, I can, really like get out there in this weather now and be okay, right? Because at first I really needed AC and stuff. And even though I don't really like using AC all the time, I was like, okay, like this is quite hot. But then towards the end, I just got used to it. And right after getting used to it, I came home to, like temperatures that are hovering around like 5 degrees Celsius, right? Something like that. And then now I have to go to Korea, which is like a bit colder than that, right? Like close to 0 degrees or so. And I don't exactly know the temperatures in Korea, but I haven't been there, and I haven't been in a snowy environment, and I haven't been in like a cold winter in a long time. And my body is still used to like the Hawaiian, like very tropical, like almost summer like weather in comparison to like what's going on in Korea and like what's going on here in San Francisco. And so at first I was like preparing for it, and there were a lot of little things to get ready, and like things that like made me kind of like complain or like kind of like disgruntled, like just in the midst of the busyness, right? But then when I really thought about it, I reflected back on my trip to Korea in 2018, and that was the last time that I was able to go. And when I went that time too, it kind of followed a similar sort of process. Not just in terms of the preparation, but even when I was there, like because it was such a last minute trip, I was like so uneasy. Because I don't like things that are last minute or like out of my control and like are unexpected, and I have no idea what's gonna happen. And I think that was like the first time, right? Because I was like straight out of a college, and I think like when you're still in school, everything is still kind of laid out for you. And yes, you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but typically you have a rubric for everything, and you have a schedule, and you have like at least your next couple months planned out. And so going from that to an environment where like anything could possibly happen was a drastic difference. And so even this time around too, like I was like really thinking about that. But even in 2018, yes, when I went to Korea, like I experienced a lot. It was like so busy. I was like nose bleeding every day, and I was like sleeping maybe like 1 or 2, maybe 3 hours every day for like the 10 days, the 2 weeks that I was there. And it was so busy. But even when I was in Hawaii this time around, and I was like recalling these stories together with the members there, I was telling them that actually it's so vivid in my memory still because of how crazy the trip was, and because how tough some parts of the trip were too. And so this time around too, like preparing to go and preparing for this new year, preparing for these next coming few months, like in my mind, I was just like so not overwhelmed, but like really just packed with like different things going on, like checking like, oh, do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have this ready? Am I ready for 2024? Am I ready for the future? Am I ready for this? Ready for that? Not in an overwhelmed way, but just like really alert, right? So much so that like my body was kind of like shutting down a little bit too. But when I really stopped to think about it this morning and last night, I really felt that actually, once again, like just as it was in 2018, it's already becoming very memorable. This trip is becoming so memorable because of all of these things going on. Right, like when I was like growing up in Providence, and especially hearing like Korean members and my parents and like different blessed family like recount their stories of growing up in Providence and of like working together with 선생님 and like doing all of these things, they like really spun a lot of yarns, right? And I don't know if you guys have that expression everywhere you are. Like I know like probably like the Western countries who speak English may have heard of that expression, like spin yarns. But you know, for those who are like in Asia but speak English, maybe you haven't heard that, like spinning yarns, right? It's like when someone's telling a story and it's very long winded and they're not really getting to the point. And so when I was growing up and people are recounting these stories with such like vivid memory and like telling all the things that Sun did, and it seems like kind of like not far-fetched but like to the extreme, I was like, man, like, you know, like these like old timers, they just like keep going on and on and on sort of thing. No, but it was just because they said it with so much like gravitas, like so much emphasis. I was like man, like it's like kind of almost fanatical. But then like recounting on my story in 2018, and then like even recounting like this last month, like with the Hawaiian members, and then like thinking about what's happening this week and everything in Providence, I'm like, wow, no, I can see why they tell their stories like that. Because so much happened, like so much happened in their life, and that it's just so vivid in their memory. And I'm contrasting that with the life like not lived in that way, right? A life in the world, a life like without meaning, right? If I went to that trip in 2018 and nothing really happened, or like this time around too, like if I went to Korea and like nothing really happens, right? Like I kind of anticipated some like difficulties, but then like actually like looking on it this time around, even if there are difficulties, which actually like when I really think about it, I don't think there'll be too many, but even if there are, it would just be an element of the story that would really enrich this and really draw attention to the blessings that we received throughout this time too. And so with all of this thing, it's like kind of really looking forward to the future. And as a final note, I really hope that, yeah, in doing this kind of reflection too and thinking about 2023, that we can each wrap up this year well too. I recognize that, you know, this is something that I was doing kind of imperfectly towards the beginning of this week, and maybe like even a week ago. And so I kind of went through this like 2 week process of like really reflecting on the end of the year, really getting to the bottom of things and like tying up loose ends to some degree, and just seeing what it is that I could do to really wrap up things for the Lord and to wrap up things for, you know, for San Francisco. You know, now that I think about it, that I have to do for the SS and that I have to do for Hawaii and all of these things too, and more than anything, you know, for the Trinity. You know, I was really thankful for the Holy Spirit letter telling us, you know, to also not be too crazy, saying that we're doing everything for Providence, but like to not forget the Lord's heart and not forget like to keep the Trinity's hearts in mind, right? Like the Trinity want people who match their hearts, right, and who love them with perfect heart. And so I really hope that, you know, for those of you guys who are listening to this on Monday, you know, going into this new year, of course, we had to end the year perfectly, but also 2024 is a start, but, you know, you're in the middle of your life too, right? So at this moment, let's make up our hearts perfectly once again. And for those of you guys who may be listening to this, luckily on Sunday before 2023 is over, maybe we can take this small length of time in order to wrap things up perfectly. And if there are unkempt things in our hearts, if there's hair sticking out, if there's things that are wrong in our hearts, that will excise those things, that will snip off those things, that will prune those things and get rid of it and make ourselves perfect once again. So I really thank you guys, and I really can't wait to see you guys in the new year. Thank you, Pastor Sky, and thank you for everyone on the MSD 17.8, all those who contribute, all of those who provide different segments, all of you listeners and subscribers, most importantly, and those who, you know, take the time to lend your ear to the things that, you know, our brothers and sisters have to share within this history, and that the Lord speaks through each of our brothers and sisters for each of us too. I really appreciate everyone, and I'm really thankful for 선생님, who has led each of us here, who has transformed each of our thinking and each of the things that all the lives that we could live, right? As we mentioned, like we could live in a different way out in the world, but instead we live as much as we can according to what the Trinity would want within this lifetime as we live in our respective places on this heaven on earth.
And thank you so much, Eddie, for a really wonderful episode of 2G Talks. If you guys have any comments, go ahead and leave it below for him. I'm sure he'd love to hear your comments, and a big Happy New Year to Eddie, too. Everyone, this is the first podcast of the year. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Have an amazing and awesome and wonderful New Year's Day, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow on The Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly, so let's realign. Just listen if